Hello, ladies and gentle friends. So today we are going to be discussing The Crown of Gilded Bones. This book starts right where Kingdom of Flesh and Fire ends. They're right in Atlantia, and after the events that just occurred at the end of the second book, we're kind of going on from there. So Poppy obviously has to, meet the parents, although she technically has at this point, has to formally meet them because the first meeting was kind of so we have to kind of go from there. Okay, so first let's talk about the first 100 pages of this book. I did not expect it to just start off like this. So by the time we get to, I would say around page 30, so first of all, I kind of listened on the audiobook, but I was switching back and forth, following along a little bit. So in here, this is around page 30. First of all, yeah, page 30 is when all the tomfoolery happens. So this is around the time where, they're in Atlantia, and all of a sudden, bad things happen to Cass and Kieran. And then Poppy's, going all beast mode because, I'd be mad too. And yeah, this is when bad things are happening. She kind of starts to unleash her, newfound powers a little bit. And then we find out that Alistair is a ding-dong. So Alistair kind of has this idea based off of Vanilla prophecy that Poppy is gonna be the one to destroy everything because reasons, prophecies, even though they're not always true. He's like, nah, she's the one that's gonna destroy everything, so we gotta take her out. We're gonna overthrow the crown, pretty much. And as Poppy's sort of chained up, can't move anywhere, she's like, well, you'd be committing treason. And he's like, would I have to do that? And so on and so forth. Mind you, this is not very far on into the book, and I feel like reading it is one thing, but listening to it is very, I don't want to say jarring, but it's just wait, didn't the story just start? We're already doing this? Oh, okay. But obviously after that point, after a while, because Poppy sort of bonded to the Wolven, they're able to sort of track her down and find her, and all is right for now. But of course, things can't be happy for too long, because as soon as they're back, more bullshit happens. They have people just randomly start attacking them. A dart hits Poppy. Poppy, of course, almost dies, which leads to Castiel making a very, very life-altering decision. No, that sounded really cheesy. A very, very momentous, no, still the wrong word. Okay, he makes a decision to pretty much ascend her. So, right as he's about to do it, his father, King Valen, is that the dad's name? Yeah. Is like, son, you cannot do this. And he's like, I have to, I love her. And then Kieran's just like, oh, we're doing this? Okay, I guess we're sending her. So, yeah, by the way, by page 82, this is happening. Yes. And I was not expecting all this to happen this early on. I'm thinking something like this would happen, maybe a quarter of the way through the book, halfway through the book. Not within the first less than 100 pages. I was not expecting all this to happen right away. I'm not used, you can't just throw that at me right away. But we have somewhat good news after this. Poppy technically doesn't really ascend. She has a sort of moment of bloodlust sort of when she wakes up, when she comes to. But they were sort of preparing her to be a whole ass vampire. They were really oh, she's gonna be a vampire. This is bad. And then she wakes up and Kieran notices her eyes aren't black like the other vampire, which is weird because she got ascended, right? She died. He, gave her blood. She drank his blood. That's how vampires are made, right? Well, no. Apparently, Poppy is different. Probably because she's a deity. Anyway, so they're trying to figure out how did this happen. So it turns out Poppy has the blood of Nyktos, the god of death, I think? He's the god of something. He's one of the old school, old gods. So, because she is part of Nyktos's, the god's bloodline, she kind of inherited his powers, which means that she's not I guess the same as what would make people turn into vampires. It didn't work on her. That's sort of the explanation. So, by the way, as all of this is happening and unfolding, apparently all the Wolven are calling her the Lisa. They're like, oh no, she's the rightful queen. And also the thing about like the kings and queens of Atlantia, they're only supposed to rule for like a little while. Well, not a little while. They live hundreds of years. For like a couple hundreds of years, and then they get replaced. That's how it works. I guess to not hold position of power for so long that they become, you know, I don't know, drunk on power. So the king and queen of Atlantia, as of right now, aren't like they sort of borne out their welcome a little bit. So I think that leads yeah, it's a mixture of a couple things why the woman like her so much. But yeah, she's sort of bonded to the woman. So yeah, they're her, you know, she's their Lisa. It makes a lot more sense if you read it. Okay, so at this point I'm gonna start jumping around because I'm going based off of like what stood out to me. So Ian returns. Yes, Poppy's brother, Ian. Yeah, he got ascended. But it seems as though he's sort of the secret agent over here, because though it seems like he's on Solas's side, he kind of whispers in Poppy's ear like, you have to do something. I forgot exactly what he says, but the point is, don't, the general gist of it is don't trust the queen, whatever. You get it. Another important development that we learned from Ian is that both the Dark One's brother, Castiel's brother, Malik, and Tawny are both safe and well cared for, as much as they can be, I guess. Once again, skipping around, so step forward like some chapters. They decide, okay, it takes like Poppy the whole entire book to decide when she wants to actually become queen, and like even Castiel's mother is like, well, you know, you have to pick like soon, right? Like a couple of days soon. She's like, oh, I didn't think I had more time than that. Well, which we all knew she was gonna get crowned queen of Atlantia at some point. I mean, yeah, but like, yeah, it happens like towards the end of the book, sort of, and it's this like whole coronation moment, and it's like right after they like fought and stuff, so she's like all dusty and dirty looking, but the people like her, so that's all that matters. But you know who doesn't like her? The Council of Elders. They're not really big fans of Poppy. They think she's bad news. Although like she's already like crowned queen, so it kind of doesn't matter. But yeah, they don't really like her that much. And there's one guy that just kind of disrespects her, and then they kind of have to like put it in place. They don't kill him or anything, but they're just like, hey, you can't do that. So yeah, that's probably going to be expected for a while. And definitely in the next book, that's probably going to be happening a lot more, if anything. He is joined by she who carries blood in the king of gods, the Lisa, and the true heir of Atlantia, Penelope Balford-Dea, the queen of flesh and fire. I love how in every book, people always have super long titles, and I'm low-key here for it. Don't even get me started on how they introduce Castiel, like his whole entire title name. His thing is like, it is a great honor that I introduce he who is born of the first kingdom, created from the blood and ash of those who fell before him, the second son of the former king Valen and Queen Eloana, Castiel Hawkthrone Denia, the king of blood and ash. I'm sorry, unpopular opinion. If his middle name was simply just Hawk, that would have been fine. But the fact that they had to try to make it sound fancier by saying Hawkthrone? What kind of name is that? What? Who? No. His middle name could have simply just been Hawk, and that would have been fine. But no, it had to be Hawkthrone, the full middle name. And it's like, ew. That is not an appealing name. What? So after they like get crowned and stuff, they decide to wake up Nyktos. Yeah, the god that like is related to Poppy. Yeah, Nyktos. They decide to wake him up. They come across these sort of like creepy things while they're in Delos, or they're in sort of the land where like the gods are, but they can't go directly there because really once you go in you can't go back. But they meet Nyktos. He's an interesting character. I feel like we're gonna see a lot more of the guy because we just have to, right? Plus, like, I'm pretty sure I guess it's called like the spin-off series is about him. So like we're gonna be seeing more of him, I'm assuming. But there was one point in the book that just simply made me just mad. And it happens in so many fantasy books where they, like, what the main character goes to like a very powerful person, deity, whatever, and they ask for help with whatever they need help with. And in response, this powerful person, wizard, deity, whatever, says, you always had the power within you. I wanted to throw something. because it's A, very cheesy, and B, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have gone to you. You know, like, I'm pretty sure if she was like, I think I got the power within me, she probably wouldn't have gone to you, Nyktos, but this is advice you give me. Great, thanks. And then at this point, we start getting into like very weird territory with Poppy's entire family tree, because we've reached the conclusion that like her parents aren't her parents, but then it's like, oh, well, you're related to Nico somehow, and then at some point it's like, well, the Queen Ileana of Solis is her grandmother, right? As of page 470, right? It's like, okay. And then by the end of the book, the family tree is even more confusing. We'll talk about this. So of course, as Poppy, Cass, Kieran, and co are going to, you know, Solis to try to talk to the Queen about, you know, this possible war and possibly trying to get a bargain, trying to seek a compromise. We really don't want to fight each other. We don't want to have to kill whole cities, level whole entire cities. No, we don't want to do that. We're just going to talk. Well, yeah, no, that doesn't happen. This does not happen at all. Instead, what happens is, you guessed it, first of all, I don't know why the queen's names are so similar. It's bothered me so much. But yeah, it's revealed that like, yeah, Malak is okay, and more or less something happened that made him sort of on her side, seemingly on her side. And since Poppy can read emotions, she tries to read his, but he has like this solid wall up, so she can't gauge how he's feeling and whether or not he's feeling, you know, something like distrust towards the Queen. No, we can't. We don't know. So we don't know what's going on with Malak right now, unfortunately. Tawny seems okay, but the Queen also has tricks up her sleeve. So as she's like kind of threatening them, she pulls out a revenant, this sort of person that can come back to life from the dead over and over again. And apparently, like, when they were like kidnapping these kids, like the second son and daughter, or third son, yeah, that's what some of those kids happened to them. They became revenants. Because when people like threaten people saying like, oh, we have larger soldiers and forces than you do, you're like, do you really? But no, that's, yeah, I guess a person that can just keep coming back to life is a pretty big threat. But yeah, not only do they like try to show that like after you kill her, she doesn't actually die, for some odd reason the Queen kills Ian, and I'm like I guess we never really got close with Ian, so like it, like for me it didn't feel as painful, but it was kind of more like a why kill him though, of all people. I swore she was gonna kill Malak. I didn't think she would kill Ian. I was surprised, but I wasn't like heartbroken over it. It was more like, oh, I didn't think that was gonna lead to that, but okay. Of course Poppy's super upset, but not only that, but to add insult to injury, through this whole thing, like the Queen's like saying like, oh, I'm your mother. Yeah, apparently she's actually her mom, and her name is not Queen Ileana. Her name's actually Isbeth. She is King Malak. Why is everyone's name so similar? His mistress, right? So yeah, apparently her name's actually Isbeth. She's, you know, the consort, or not really consort, yeah, the lover of the King Malak. And because he's a deity, with deities in the world, they apparently don't become vampires, so she became something else. But she has like the black eyes of a vampire, so she kind of just pretended to be a vampire all these years for reasons. But yeah, apparently it was Poppy's mom. And we don't know who the dad is yet, by the way. And this chapter, or these couple of chapters, are what I call the sort of, you know, if you read A Court of Mist and Fury, you know how the way that ended? Yeah, it was like a Court of Mist and Fury kind of ending, where like everything that could have gone wrong that happens. People die, people get taken away and kidnapped. Yeah, that all happens. Castile is the one that gets taken away. Well, actually, he kind of offers himself up so that all of his friends can go. Poppy is like in pain because the Queen is like trying to kill her very slowly with her godlike powers. So in order to stop this from happening, Castile's like, hey, I'll offer myself up again, once again, to Solis once again. Please let her go. So that ends up happening. Luckily, Poppy and co get Tawny out, because I guess Tawny's sort of like the person that they're like, here, you can have her. So yeah, Tawny's safe, well, sort of, for now. And yeah, the way the book ends is like she is like straight up like, yeah, she's declaring war to get Castiel back, but also to be like, well, screw you, queen. That's supposed to be my mom. We're going to war. So, and which makes sense because the next book is called The War of Two Queens. So I was expecting it to be a war. I was like, when are they gonna get to the point where they're declaring war? Well, yeah, at the very end, she like kills the guy and is like, yeah, send a message to your queen. Yeah, that whole thing happens. And it's like I like badass Poppy, but sometimes I'm just like, ma'am, take a couple seats, please. Wait, because you know I have to do this. Make sure she knows that I am the chosen, the one who is blessed, and I carry the blood of the King of Gods in me. I am the Lisa to the Wolven, the second daughter, the true heir. Oh, the crowns of Atlantia and Solus. I am the Queen of Flesh and Fire, and the God's guards ride with me. Tell the Blood Queen to prepare for war. Which, okay, it sort of is a badass ending, right? But it's also like, ma'am, you didn't have to do all that. You could have just been like, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to war. Okay, but now I have some theories. And like, okay, this is one of my first theories. It's probably not the right one, but I have a theory, right? I think Poppy might actually become evil. Yeah, I think that might be, a part of me is kind of like, I think that's where this is headed. Because think about it. The whole entire series starts with her being the maiden, being super innocent, not knowing anything about the world. Now she's a queen that's got all these godlike, deity-like powers and is threatening people and like saying prepare for war. I don't know. Like a part of me really thinks like it would be sort of interesting to see her become evil, but also like I kind of don't want that because it's like if she becomes evil, the only option is just to kill her, and it's like, okay, you kill Poppy, but then Cass is kind of just sitting there like, my wife's dead. You know, like, I don't know. I don't know if I like that theory, but I could see it happening. I don't know if the author would do that. I think what's really going to happen is the author is going to sort of do like a fake out because there's a lot of back and forth with her possibly actually becoming what the prophecy says and her becoming evil, destroying everything, and her like being like, well, no, I'm not like that. I'm not like my mother. So I think there might be an actuality like her seeming like she's going to become evil, but then not. But I don't know. It would be interesting to see her just straight up become evil. It would be interesting. But I feel like because she has people like Kieran and Delano and Venetta and Castiel, and now Tawny's back, like I feel like she has reasons to not just straight up become evil. Like she has people sort of holding her back, whereas think like Isbeth didn't really have that kind of support system to avoid becoming evil. Hell, even Castiel's mother didn't become evil. Like she did some messed up stuff, but like she didn't become evil, and I think having a good support system helps. So hopefully Poppy does not, you know, become evil. I'm crossing my fingers, but a part of me feels like that would definitely happen. Okay, other theory that I have, I think that I think that Castiel's parents are gonna die. I don't know why. I really think the next book, one or both of them are gonna die. I think it's probably gonna be Castiel's father because I don't know. A part of me really thinks that it makes sense if one or both of the parents die. But like I can't explain it right now. It just as far as like the story goes, it's like if you're gonna do a character death, I do think now that we killed Ian, I think one or both of his parents dying, or Malik dying would make sense at this point. I don't know why. I feel like that would make sense. I don't want to kill them off, but like it would make sense if they got killed off. You know what I mean? I also think that Kieran's dad is gonna die, unfortunately. Because it's this whole setup where we meet Kieran's family, his mother. Oh yeah, Kieran's mother's name is Kira, kind of like my name, except it's spelled very, very differently. Like it was not spelled like how I would have expected it to be spelled. Let's just say that. But she's pregnant with Kieran's younger sister. I think they said it was a daughter, younger sister, and I hate to say like because they had this thing where like the dad was leaving and he's like, I'll be back for my daughter's birth, and I was just like, I hate to be the pessimist, but I feel like there's something's gonna happen to him. I'm sorry. So someone's dad is gonna die, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm theorizing, because it's setting up for that, sort of. Setting up for that death, because there are certain characters we know are safe, at least until, like, the last book. You know, like, I feel like Poppy, Castiel, and Kieran are gonna be alive. Maybe one of them may get killed off in the very, very last book, but, like, right now they're safe. They're very safe, because they're the main characters. I think Venetta's safe for now. I don't know. I don't want Venetta to die, but, like, I think Venetta's safe for now, hopefully. Watch that be, like, the one character that I'm wrong about. So, side note, I did not mention much about the smut. I appreciate all the smut in the book and all the fluff. It's nice. What I don't appreciate is that, like, the first section of the book is, like, pain and despair, and then the majority of the book, it's, like, explanations and it's them doing stuff. Sure, it's, like, a little bit of plot, but, you know, it's a lot of, like, fluff and smut, right? Which is great. And then at the end of the book, it's despair again. It's like, okay, great. So much for that. Thank you. I guess that's balance. That's yin yang. That's keeping everything balanced, sort of. I guess I appreciate it. Not really, but here we are. I read the book, so I mean, I guess I didn't hate it, but I feel slighted a little bit. So I forgot to mention, this version of the book has, like, little pictures, or maybe just one. It has, like, a nice picture. It is. Ew. And I really like the fan. One thing about this series is I love the fan art, because I like how everyone sort of is on, like, the same page as far as, like, what the characters look like. I think, honestly, there was only, like, one fan art I've seen where, like, Kieran wasn't, like, black or, like, POC. Even, like, I've only seen, like, one where, like, Castiel was, like, pale. Like, every other thing, like, they're, like, POC or, like, vaguely ethnic, right? And, like, most fan art I've seen, Poppy, like, she's a curvy girl, right? Even, well, yeah, this is, like, sort of, like, official, so, like, you would think they would make this, like, real. But yeah, I'm happy for the fan art, because I feel like the fan art doesn't have a lot of deviation, which, I mean, it's fine if people take the liberties, but, like, at least there's not a lot of deviation with that. People kind of just agree with, like, what the characters look like, which I appreciate more than anything in this fandom, is that people kind of are like, yeah, we all know. But those are my final thoughts on The Crown of Gilded Bones. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys next time so we can talk about a lot of other book related things. Bye bye.